Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are coming to today's webinar, which is all about the Great Place to Work certification.
Nice.
What I'm going to do is ask if everyone can just mute themselves so that everyone can hear and we have good sound going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight all the speakers for you, so that it's easier to see who's speaking, who's involved, and what they're doing. And then let me find Fiona. Excellent to have her here. Excellent. So today is all about, really what our passion is here at the Proven Group, and it's all about creating a great workplace. Everyone wants to come to work and be happy. Everyone wants to be coming and being inspired. Everyone wants to be working in their strengths and being their best self. That is ultimately what we're all about. It sounds really simple, doesn't it? Just create a great workplace. It'll be fine. And you know what? It really isn't actually that hard. We really are very much of the opinion of the need for great leadership and skilled leadership, and creating a kind and supportive workplace where, people are treated as adults and working in areas that they're really passionate about, and in organisations where they're aligned with the values. And today I'm super excited because all of these organisations who we have on here today are going to share their journey with you in their process of becoming Great Place to Work certified. They're all organisations that have values at the core of their organisation and are very much driven by values. We also have the amazing Valentina on here from Great Place to Work. So she'll be sharing on the Great Place to Work certification perspective, why it exists, what sort of organisations actually go through the process. I know you see a lot of big names, but it doesn't have to be big named organisations who are getting the certification. It's a statement that we are committed to building a great place to work, and that people and culture is critical to our organisation. As the Proven Group, we're a people and culture organisation. So we support people in building people and culture where, everyone really is a great place to work. Obviously, we've all got that compliance word that we've all got to deal with. And we've got to make sure that happens. But that's at the very low level of HR and people and culture. At the top end is actually creating thriving workplaces where people and strategy are all aligned, and organisations are really thriving from a financial perspective, from a cultural perspective, and ultimately from, offering their clients an amazing service. And then, the growth is all circular from there. I was once talking to someone and they said, if the role of the business is really to look after the staff and the team of the business, and then the role of the team is to look after the customers. If you get that bit right, then it all is a process that works beautifully in synergy with itself. So really excited to have you here today. What we'll do is give everyone an opportunity to do a quick introduction so you know who's here and what's what. And then we'll hear stories. So today's all about sharing stories and hearing about what strategies and how a business is going about implementation. So Valentina, I might start off with you. Do you want to jump in and introduce yourself and about the Great Place to Work certification?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Jenny. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's good morning for me. I am from Perth, Western Australia, and it's great to be here with you all today. And I'm really particularly excited that Jenny and the Proven Group have invited Great Place to Work to share with you all about, workplace culture and what it all means. So yes, as Jenny has said, this day and age, employees have so many different choices and different options. It's not your traditional work environments anymore. You can do lots of different ways. Well, there are so many different ways of earning a crust now, and you can choose. And just like with your consumers, employees are also choosing, and they have the opportunity to select what works for them and what works best for them. So from the workplace perspective, one of the key things, of course, is to make sure that it is, in fact, attractive. It is one that employees can actually thrive in. And most importantly, one that they enjoy coming to work for. So to be able to do that, we support the organizations, monitor and assess their workplace culture. And that's really what Great Place to Work is all about. We are a global organization. We do say that we are a global authority on workplace culture. And the reason why we can do that is because we've been doing these workplace engagement and trust index surveys for a very long time, 30 years, in fact, and it's global. And so we do this on an annual basis in terms of this trust index survey, where employees tell us what they believe a great workplace is. So in order for an organization to be actually certified, employees must actually say that, we are in fact a great place to work on a number of different areas, if you like, or what we call focus areas and dimensions. So it essentially means that employees are telling us that their workplace is a great one for many different reasons. And so then that also allows for us to be able to sort of compare and contrast across different, organizations as to who is saying what, and then pull out some key themes and trends from that, based on those employees' feedback. So that's what we are, and that's what we do. Who does it? Well, organizations, as Jenny has said, organizations who are really genuinely interested in people. So most of the time, what we actually tend to find is that our organizations that take part in the survey usually tend to be very much focused on the people. They have a people pillar, they have a people strategy, even if it is not in a sense that's formal and it's written up, in a bit of a operational plan or a functional plan or any of those things. But it's just that genuinely at the core of it, at the heart of it, that people are actually at the center of business decisions. And as was mentioned earlier as well, so when you look after the people look after the customers and the stakeholders, and as such, you have that all-round cycle of strong productivity, strong engagement, great innovation, and ultimately the financial growth and the business results. So and what's really great is that we're going to hear stories from different organizations that spread across different industries. And so what we do have with Great Place to Work is that it's organizations of different sizes, from up to 30 people or so, right through to ones that actually have thousands of employees, and many multinational organizations as well. So we see those big names all the time, which is really great. But what we're actually really proud of is also seeing the local brands, smaller operations, and owner operations, where they are also very much genuinely interested in the employees and the experience that the employees have in the workplace. So really excited to hear more stories from our certified organizations, and also the ones that have actually been selected as the best of the best in Australia. So each year from that certified community, we actually assess all of them and select and recognize and celebrate those that have actually sort of risen above the all others, in terms of what they're actually really doing for their employees to really engage and ultimately thrive in their workplaces. So yes, so that's what Great Place to Work is all about in a short introduction, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the session, I'm sure.
Thank you. And we all know that recruitment and retention is a challenge. I would say we're all experiencing the same things. Recruiting great people, real challenge. People are putting out job applications, job roles, and trying to get great candidates to apply is a challenge. On the flip side, retention is a challenge as well. People are moving on faster, jumping a lot, and keeping people, great people within your organisation is a challenge. So, Belinda, I might get you to start us off. Obviously the Proven Group is a people and culture organisation. We're all about people. And for us, we thought it was really important to set an example. Can you tell us a little bit about, our journey at the Proven Group and why did we decide to go down this path, and, what have been the benefits and the insights from it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jenny. And thank you, Valentina. It's lovely to get the background again. So Great Place to Work as a certification just makes sense for us. As you said, we're a people and culture organisation. We provide all the human resources, safety sort of skills as an external HR manager for organisations. So it makes sense that if we as a HR organisation are not a great place to work and cannot engender the culture that makes it a great place to work, then how can we help our clients to do that as well? So it was a little bit of a no-brainer, certainly straight up our alley. And it went out to our team and was no surprise to us that it was, we actually got over the line fairly easily. And that's because we've paid attention to the culture from day one, from when it was just the founder, Carmel Brown, and myself in the business. And, as soon as we took on our first person and all of those kinds of things, the culture has always been foremost in our minds. And understanding that everything that you do every day will impact on that culture. So it's not just, I set up this flash strategy day 6 months ago and we all had a good time. It's about what happens on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's what the team really recognised for us. So it's about how we interact with each other. It's about our overarching purpose, which the team came up with, where everybody wins. So that is a decision-making tool in our business. So if anyone, including our clients and their teams, are not winning in a particular situation, then we don't take that action. So decisions are easy. Everyone understands it. Everyone talks about it. It's something that comes up daily, really, for our team. And the values are always foremost in our minds as well. Coupled with that, we've come up with a structure that is decentralised, to say the least. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but organisational structures tend to be power-based because they're 200 years old and they're in a pyramid. And so you've got the top person at the top and the, everyone who does all the work at the bottom and other people in between. Or occasionally you see it flipped up to be like that. And we wanted something that was actually going to support our culture. So our structure is the director of the business and the key people, the key exec team in the centre. And then around that centre, core centre of the business, are our pods. And our pods are our service centres to our clients. Each pod has a pod leader, but they don't manage the people. As you mentioned in the intro, Jenny, we do something revolutionary like treat people as adults and make them responsible for their own work and their own outcomes and all of those kinds of things. What we find is that because we do that, it's reciprocated. It is a really appreciated thing. So those pod leaders don't manage the people, they manage the workflow and they provide support to those people. So it's very much a collegiate, collaborative kind of process that we have at the Proven Group, which is just what we want. We're not interested in power, we're interested in everybody winning. And everyone getting something out of it and actually enjoying their work, doing work that they like, as well as work that they're good at, and getting paid well for that. And wherever we can, we provide flexibility because, we are a decentralised workforce. We all work from home, or more importantly, we all work from the client's premises, because if you're an external HR manager, there's no point in you sitting in an office somewhere else. You actually need to be on the ground where the people are in the client's business. So it's a remote workforce. So our biggest challenge is team cohesion and making sure that we actually all stay together. We do that in a number of ways.
Can I just ask everyone to... Thank you. Sorry, Belinda.
That's okay. I think I've drawn to the end of my section, Jenny. So.
Thank you. And I do think I'd love everyone, all of the presenters, to touch on this a little bit. But I do think, how do you make yourself attractive in this day and age is just really kind of an interesting point. because obviously everyone out there is wanting different things. And, you know, we're going to start talking about, you know, the businesses, and obviously we're a remote workforce. So our consultants are going. Oh, I'm not sure what that noise is coming from. Could everyone else hear that too? I might just get everyone to mute. Thank you. So you know, ours is a remote workforce. So one of the things that the Proven Group has to offer is flexibility. You know, you have a child, you have a dog, you know, you need to take them somewhere, you know, or you just have yourself. Do you know what I mean? You can do those things, and flexibility and kind of, you know, putting work into perspective is quite important. You know, you've got a workforce like we're going to hear from Nina in a moment, like, you know, Nurse Next Door, where, you know, flexibility is more of a challenge in many ways, because you've got to get the people working out in the homes and doing that. You know, also with you, Fiona, you know, at Collective Wellness, you know, most commonly, big brand under your name is Anytime Fitness. You know, it's a people need to be in the studios running classes and, you know, doing the work that needs to be done. So, you know, flexibility and kind of, I suppose, support in creating you know, an employee benefits package, and how do you package that is going to be different for each of us. Michelle, we might start with you. You're the marketing manager for Frontline Recruitment, and obviously you're a recruitment business, and you are a great place to work. Do you want to talk a little bit about the business, a little bit about the culture, and kind of how Great Place to Work has come about for you?
Sure. So I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Frontline Recruitment Group, and we're actually a franchise structure. And our purpose here at Frontline is that we believe that success comes from surrounding yourself with the right people. And our brand essence is that we are people first, whether that's a candidate looking for their next role, a client that's looking for the next team member to fit in with their culture, a consultant looking to build a career in recruitment, or a franchisee looking to build a team and business, placing great people in great jobs. So it made a lot of sense for us to really support our brand with Great Place to Work certification, just given that focus on recruitment and retention. And in fact, we were actually the first franchise brand in Australia and New Zealand to get Great Place to Work certification at our head office, at our support office, but also it's awarded at every single franchisee unit level. So they can also use that in their own recruiting practices and use that brand. And we're also very proud to have made the Great Place to Work certification 2 years in a row, but this year to actually have made the best workplaces list. So we're ranked as one of the top 30 workplaces in Australia for mid-sized companies, and also as one of the best workplaces for women. So a lot of our focus really has been around learning and development. We're about 100 people in the organisation. And as we said as well, one of our challenges is being a franchise structure is we have a team at head office, and then we have all of our individual franchisees that have their own teams underneath that. So it's to make people really feel like they're all part of one collective and all part of one culture. It can sometimes be challenging when, you know, you've got 100 different business units spread all around the country, or across 2 countries in our case. So one of the things that we've done is to implement an employee assistance program that every single person in the business can access. And that is also extended to their family, their immediate family members as well. So in that program, anyone is eligible for up to 6 free counselling sessions a year to talk about any challenges that they've got. And as I said, that's extended to their family members as well. As I said before, a big investment has been made in our business across learning and development. So one of the things that we recognise is that, you know, you're not going to keep every employee forever, but what you want to do is make people feel like they grew and were developed at that time with Frontline Recruitment Group. So we have centralised onboarding. So we not only do the onboarding for our head office team, but we also do the onboarding. We have a dedicated L&T team for every single franchisee and their team members. So that's a real benefit to our franchisees, but it also gives a consistent experience across the entire business. We also developed a rookie program. So a lot of our consultants that come into the business are not necessarily experienced in recruiting. They may have come from one of our specialist industry sectors. And we know that people are much happier at work if they feel like they're successful early. And so our rookie program has had a really big impact in building that success early for those rookie recruiters that are coming on board. But then also, obviously, that benefits our franchisees at the individual unit level and their businesses. Another thing that we've implemented is a new L&D platform called Absorb, and that makes it a lot easier to implement micro-learning across the business. That's on an on-demand basis. And that's obviously really helped a lot of our agency owners and their teams upskill and become more confident in their roles, but also running their business. Just recently, we also did a company-wide training program called the Recruiter Brand Academy, and that was all about helping people build their personal brand across the group. Another big thing that we've implemented is rewards and incentives. So every year we hold an annual conference, and as I said before, with a company that has that is a franchise structure, you've got, you know, a lot of team members working in small offices across the country, but it's really important for the culture to have everyone come together at least once a year. So that's a conference that we host annually, and we invite all of our agency owners to come along, as well as all of their team members. We have another agency owner summit as well each year, but we also have a couple of rewards and incentives trips that are all funded from head office as well. So we have our All Stars incentive trip for our franchisees, where we take everyone away. This year it was to Fiji, last year it was at Hamilton Island, and next year it's in Bali. And we also extend a similar incentive program to their team members. So we have our Top Gun incentive trip, which was in Port Douglas this year, and next year that's actually going to be on Hamilton Island. So people can participate in those programs and feel like they're rewarded and acknowledged for their results at that level. We run masterclass programs also with our CEO, who actually hosts small masterclass programs with nominated team members put forward by our franchisees. And another real element as well, which we know that people really value, is that we have a hybrid working culture across the entire business. So we do offer that flexibility. So at head office level, you know, most people are hybrid, but we do have even some team members who are fully remote. And at franchisee level as well, there's hybrid work practices implemented across the board. So, you know, as I said, a lot of our focus is around developing our people, building a unified culture across the franchise network, and, you know, making everyone feel like they're on one team, and that we're investing in their careers and their future for the long term.
I think that is just so magical, and it's really special and unique. You know, there's that amazing quote of, you know, what happens if you train people and they leave, and then the other person says, well, what happens if you don't and they stay? You know, you kind of, great workplaces are building people to be their best self, and you want them to leave better than when they entered. And philosophically, if you can build a culture like that, it's just so magical. So your focus on the learning and development and building your people is just really impressive, Michelle. Thanks for sharing. Can I just ask you, what triggered the organisation getting certified in Great Place to Work to start with?
Well, we actually went through a really radical rebrand at the beginning of 2021, and it was part of elevating our brand as being seen as a great place to work. So we needed to elevate our employer brand, obviously, as well as our overall brand. You know, coming out of COVID was a really intense time. So as everyone knows here, there was an extreme talent shortage. We were incredibly busy, you know, from a recruiting point of view, but we also needed to help our agency owners attract recruitment consultants to really fill demand. And so it was a real choke point in our business. So the Great Place to Work certification was a strategic move from us being able to absolutely fill demand of our clients and customers by getting great people in great roles and having them recruit for our clients. But also it was also a part of our rebrand strategy and really elevating our brand and positioning ourselves as being people first.
No, I love it. I love it. I think it's time for another conversation with you at some point about the whole how the shift in the marketing space, Nina. I think this is an area of your passion too. The shift in marketing from being kind of very customer focused to kind of being people internal and external focused. I think it's quite an interesting. You kind of see that shift everywhere you look. It's really, really interesting. Thanks, Michelle. Nina, we'll go to you. You are also the head of marketing at Nurse Next Door. Nurse Next Door is a much younger brand, so you haven't been in Australia for that long, and it's you've built a presence and an amazing name in a really, really short period of time. Culture is at the centre of everything you do. Can you share a little bit of the journey with us?
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. So one of the key roles that I have at Nurse Next Door in Australia is to elevate the Nurse Next Door brand, because as Jenny mentioned, we are fairly young. We're 5 years old, so we're still a baby. And the biggest thing is we wanted to find a better way to show potential candidates that we're an employer of choice in the home and healthcare industry. And I'm sure everyone's heard the news across the last years about the shortage of workers specifically in the healthcare space. So it's a huge buyer's market at the moment. And there's plenty of opportunities out there for nurses and caregivers, and we needed to cut through all that noise to rise above our competitors. So for us, getting certified meant that we could build our brand credibility as an employer of choice and really showcase that to people. We knew we had a great culture. We knew we had great care teams. We knew we had a great franchise network, but people didn't necessarily see that. So after we did the survey, and we had over 600 caregivers and nurses actually do the survey, which was huge, we became certified. And in the same year, we were awarded one of the best workplaces for 2023, which was so exciting because it was our first time, and we received both, and we were like, yay. But the biggest goal for us is to attract, but also retain candidates that are aligned with our core purpose of making lives better. So making lives better means more to us than just caring for our clients and making our clients' lives better. It's making the lives better for our care team, because they're the ones that are providing the care. And without a happy and supported care team, you won't get that premium home care experience as a client. So their role is very remote, and we implemented a few initiatives where they knew wherever they were, Nurse Next Door was there for them. And we have something that we call a people promise. So we believe that it's critical to pay competitively, invest in team member development, which we do have through e-learning programs. We identify growth opportunities, and we celebrate milestones through rewards and recognitions, which is what I wanted to focus on during this session, because we do some things that are quite different and quite unique to be able to show our care teams that no matter where you are, we are here for you, and we're going to support you in several different ways. So the first one is our Making Lives Better Rewards and Wellbeing program. So it is an affiliated platform that provides discounts on everyday items such as groceries, petrol, but also includes things like clothing, electronics, and homewares. So they will get discounted prices on these things. And as we know, at the moment, the cost of living is so high, be able to just give them that financial support, no matter how big or small. We really hope that it helps them out in their day-to-day. The other thing about this platform that's amazing is it has a wellbeing center, and it's broken down into move, munch, money, and mind. And basically, it's filled with content that includes workouts, meditation sessions, tips on managing finances and budgeting, as well as recipes to encourage staff to actually manage their nutrition, because their role is so high stress, to be able to just provide them with information to be able to support them allows them to still focus on their well-being. One of my favorite initiatives that we have is called Bold Dreams and Goals. And this was designed to showcase the exceptional nurses and caregivers who make a difference in the lives of our clients. So each year, Nurse Next Door invites all employees around Australia to submit their bold dream or goal. and we select 5 people who receive a $1,000 reward to help them achieve those dreams, which is, we've run it 2 years in a row now, and we've had some amazing stories come through. And the people that win their dreams aren't necessarily always crazy dreams. We did have one that wanted to go paragliding with her son, but we also had another winner who was a single mum, and she just needed some help with her finances and to be able to put her daughter through school. And we knew that that would mean a lot to her. The other one that's really close to my heart is one of our caregivers in Queensland actually hadn't seen her father for years, and he has terminal cancer. So our franchise partner in that region called me up and said, if she wins, I will make sure that we double the amount so she can get home to see her dad. That didn't bribe us anyway. We selected her as a winner before I got this phone call, but being able to actually help her get home, see her dad, and spend some quality time with him after she's given so much of herself to us really made a difference for us. And it makes us as heart quarters here remember, this is why we do what we do. This is why we are at Nurse Next Door. This is why we are passionate about making lives better. And the last thing that we do is talking about remote workers and getting people connected. We do run sessions at a franchise level called Better Together. So this allows teams to come together, and they get paid for their hours to connect, reconnect, lean on each other, and also, yes, Heartquarters is our little cheeky name, but also connect and reconnect and lean on each other, but also have some training provided. So we will do things like catheter training, and also allow them to just be together and do mindfulness sessions, have a lunch, and just know that they're part of a team wherever they go. And this is really, really important for us. So yeah, that's Nurse Next Door in a nutshell.
Absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And I think, you know, because you are in such a kind of caregiving, you know, business, you know, it is important for everything to align. I love the way that your values really align with the way you do business. It's yeah. I love hearing these stories. Can you share with us a little bit about, you know, where Great Place to Work sits within, you know, the whole journey and the strategy?
So it's definitely at a focal point for us. So building a strong culture and building strong teams is pretty much at the center of everything. So when I was handed basically a task going, this is Great Place to Work, find out what it is, I was like, great. Let's see let's go hunting. So I think for us, it was definitely a core to be able to cut through, because as I've mentioned before, in the healthcare space, there's so much opportunity for nurses, and there are also nurses specifically who might be in hospitals that don't want to stay there anymore. And unfortunately, it is sad to say, but they might need a break for their own mental health. So to be able to show them, hey, you can still do what you love, but we will also make sure that you feel supported. And having Great Place to Work as a certification shows that we've done that for our current care team as well. So when we do all of our recruitment marketing, the badge is on our website, it's on our franchise development report as well. So when we onboard franchise partners, they know that we're certified, and that also gives us a bit of clout from that perspective as well. We've written blogs about it. We've also written about it in local papers as well. So we actually really ingrain it in our marketing strategy. So whenever a franchise partner reaches out and says, hey, I need help recruiting staff, what can we do to be that'll make us a little bit different, then we actually integrate that Great Place to Work certification and the best workplaces for 2023 into our marketing to be able to attract that staff.
I love it. I really, really love it. I mean, you know, all these things obviously take effort, you know, everything that everyone's spoken about, but it's so incredibly valuable in, you know, creating that whole strategy that delivers. Thank you. Thanks, Nina.
Thank you.
Fiona, over to you. You are HR at Collective Wellness Group. Can you share with us, you know, obviously it's a business that's been going for a long time, also a franchise. You've got multiple brands under the brand. You've got quite a big head office team. You know, so many moving parts within that business. Do you want to share with us a little bit about, you know, why the organisation decided to take on the certification? I know you've had a major push and focus towards this you know, the culture piece.
Thanks, Jenny, and really privileged to be here with such fantastic leaders that are obviously doing such amazing things in their organisations. So as Jenny mentioned, I'm the head of People and Culture at Collective Wellness Group. So we are a fitness franchised, largely franchised organisation with a few brands in our portfolio. The one that most people would be familiar with is Anytime Fitness. And it was great listening to you, Michelle, about all the things you've implemented for your network, because, and I did jot some ideas down, because franchising is a beast of its own. So to answer your question, Jenny, why Great Place to Work? So we do an annual engagement survey. So we went about that process on the back end of last year, and we were quite pleased with our results. I mean, we had put concerted effort into, I guess, making sure that we didn't flunk the engagement survey, but I think coming off the back of COVID and just a challenging time, I think a challenging few years for everyone, we were pleased with where we landed. Always work to do, but we thought that Great Place to Work would be a great initiative for us to drive to obviously get the organisation certified. I think as a HR professional, that's always a goal, to work for an organisation and to be the driving force in an organisation that is recognised as a great place to work. More so than that, and I think it's already been mentioned, we recognised the power that being Great Place to Work certified would have with recruitment and retention. The market had shifted drastically post-COVID, as we all know. So we thought that it would be a wonderful tool to aid us in that space. Do you want me to continue into our initiatives, Jenny?
I would love you to. I mean, I know, obviously, you know, as a, let's call it a wellness business, a business that's all about, you know, fitness and general well-being, that's been a real focus. Can you maybe just talk a little bit about the values of the organisation and how this fits in with that? Because I think that's really interesting here.
Definitely. So our mission at Collective Wellness Group is to inspire healthier lives. So it's something that we're constantly trying to bring to life and reinforce with the team. We recruit aligned to that mission, and a lot of the things that we do in the business that purpose is weaved in. So it was really important to us when we thought about wellness, and I think I will say we're proud of lots of the initiatives that we've gotten off the ground at CWG relating to kind of growth and development, clarity on KPIs, purpose and vision. But I will say that we're extremely proud of our wellness initiatives. I think it is a space that sets us apart. So I always say when speaking about wellness benefits, I think there's so much in this space that an organisation can do. So I think it's really important when organisations are thinking about what sorts of benefits they want to implement for their team. I think being unapologetic about the fact that you can't do it all as a business, but I think selecting benefits and initiatives that align to the purpose of the organisation are ones that are going to be most impactful. So for us, we wanted to select wellness benefits that brought that mission to inspire healthier lives more to life for our team. So some of the things that we've done in that space, which we're proud of, I mean, an obvious one that just feels normal to us, but I can appreciate that lots of people don't have this, is the free membership to Anytime Fitness. So that gives our team access to over 550 clubs across the globe, which is a massive benefit in itself. We recognise that Anytime Fitness, despite us loving the product, it's not necessarily how every person wants to train or wants to engage in health and fitness. So supplementary to the Anytime Fitness membership, our team also receive a subsidised ClassPass membership. And the purpose of that is to encourage our team, if you're not going to use our brands, we'd love you to, but it's okay if you don't. We just really want to encourage you to move, be healthy, and do the things that we know are beneficial to your health, mentally, physically, all of those things. We give the team annually a $250 wellness voucher. So the intention of that is that they can spend that $250 in a way that aligns to improving their wellness. So we have 6 what we call wellness pillars that sit underneath our Inspire Healthier Lives purpose. Health, fitness, nutrition, confidence, sleep, and mindfulness. So they can choose one of those pillars and spend that voucher in a way that they think is going to significantly improve their wellness in that space. And we see all sorts of wonderful activities come out of that we share amongst the team, which is a really feel-good thing to do. The team also get 2 additional days of leave each year, and we call them wellness days of leave. So again, those days are dedicated to the team to spend the day in a way that they choose to focus on their wellness. For some people, that will be having a sleep in, focused on their sleep. For some people, that will be getting a workout in and spending an hour being more mindful. So it looks different to every person. We don't prescribe what those days should look like. But again, it's really wonderful to hear how different people engage with that. And I think a big thing that we do month to month that's very much kind of part of our BAU now is that we have an annual calendar of events. So I just mentioned our 6 pillars of wellness. So each month we focus on a different pillar. So to give you an example, this month is Nutrition Month. So last week we had a external expert in the office in the space of nutrition that undertook one-to-one consults with the team. So any of the team that wanted to get personalised advice about their diet and how the diet is making them feeling and any tips and tricks they can take away, where they were able to meet with this expert, which was wonderful. Another example is that we've done, aligned to our health pillar, we've gotten a provider in to do skin checks for the team. So again, that's some of the things that we tend to neglect, those GP checks and things that we might not do on our own accord. We want to be the business that fosters the team to make the time for those things, because we know that without a healthy body and mind, you're not going to be your best at work, right? And just things that have already been mentioned in EAP, which we have in our business also. And that hybrid working flexibility, I think it is important to note. I think there's pros and cons to both. And as an organisation, we wanted to embrace all of those and respect that people have different preferences on the way that they work. So we do enable for that hybrid working. So that kind of captures us in a whole.
Thank you. Thanks, Fiona. Couple of kind of standout pieces amongst everything that's been said. I really kind of always come back to the values, because I think that the values and mission of the organisation, because I think that that's the bit that ties it all together. And as you can hear, there are so many incredible initiatives that organisations can implement. Like, sometimes when we go in and talk to organisations about wellness, there are hundreds, there are thousands, there are endless initiatives. Sorry, it might be someone to mute themselves again. There are endless initiatives that people can take on, and it's about choosing initiatives that are aligned with the strategy, aligned with the vision and mission, and aligned with the people within the organisation. And I think that is where the magic happens. So I find when organisations, just start kind of implementing tactics and pieces, often there's that misalignment. I love, Fiona, how you've gone about kind of structuring it in a very, very structured manner. Because, first of all, as we've discussed, organisations don't have endless budgets. I know you have had a healthy budget to get this off the ground, but organisations, don't have endless budgets. There are some really good statistics about the linkage between, well-being, mental health and productivity. So these are really critical factors. But when you've got a limited budget, a diverse workforce, hopefully a diverse workforce, because diversity kind of breeds, so many, opportunity to innovate and think differently and, really create an interesting workforce that delivers to clients. And you've got all of these factors you're taking into consideration, really understanding that workforce and linking it to the strategy becomes so critical. Belinda, did you want to say anything about that? Because that just stood out for me. Like, Fiona, I can see you've obviously done so much work in the background to get it to such a succinct kind of program.
And Jenny, I'll just say as well, I think the point you raised as well is really good, because we did have a budget that was dedicated to this. But I say to Annie, who's my coordinator and helps me with a lot of the wellness initiatives, less is more. I think if the team can see that you're being purposeful and really intentional with the initiatives that you're doing, they you know, I think we're our own worst critics sometimes. I think they really appreciate anything that kind of comes in this space. So as long as there's, as I said, an intention behind it, I don't think there needs to be kind of a number of initiatives and a number of different things, because that can be confusing as well. So I think that clarity on the things that you've chosen to run with and why is what's going to be most appreciated from the team.
Yeah, totally. Belinda?
Totally agree. Thanks, Fiona, for some great examples. I did make a note of one of yours that we'll be stealing, so that's always good. Jenny asked about values. So values is a real passion piece for me. In so many organisations, they're really just seen as a fluffy words on the wall or on the website, and nobody really understands what they are or how they can really help a business to reach the next level. You know, people who understand, or businesses that understand their values and implement their values and embed their values in everyone's decision-making process are the ones that end up becoming great places to work, because they know what they stand for, they know what they don't stand for. They're quick to pick people up on behaviours that are appropriate and celebrate those, and quick to pick people up on behaviours that are incongruent with those values. And really have the backup to have that robust conversation and say, hey, you know, this isn't how we do things here, and this is why. You know, when we as HR professionals talk to managers, generally speaking, if they've got a performance issue with someone and it's technical, you know, they're all over it. They'll send them to training, they'll buddy them up with someone, they'll, you know, talk to them about it, they'll give them a procedure. There's lots and lots of things that they can do. As soon as they've got an issue that's behavioural, they run for the hills. And that's because it's like, well, what do I do with that? I don't know what to do with that. And usually the person with the poor behaviour doesn't understand that it's a poor behaviour either. So you need a different toolkit to bring out to be able to have that conversation. And that's what the values are. The values are tools in an organisation that's to assist managers to run the business in a way that is not only a great place to work, but assist the business to achieve what it needs to achieve, which is why it exists, what its purpose is, and why the employment relationship exists, which is a mutual need relationship moving forward. So we've both got to achieve what the business needs, and values is a key way of doing that.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Valentina, can you link this all back to Great Place to Work?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really loving all the comments about, you know, benefits and linking it all the way back up to values and also to the purpose as well. So at the core of it all, you know, we've been talking about what we actually do for the employees, but why do we actually do it comes back down to that, you know, values, but also in terms of the purpose as well. So if the organization is not congruent with what they say they're supposed to do and how they actually treat the customers versus how they treat the employees, and if it's not synergistic, then it just unravels itself. So it's, yeah, really, really awesome to hear all of this. So in terms of, you know, just sticking to the point about benefits and making employees feel special, is that one of the things that we have actually seen a great deal is that people, of course, you know, love the benefits. And what actually makes a huge difference is when organizations actually listen to the employees. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily always mean that it has to be resource intensive in terms of those benefits. It could just be something very, very simple, but as long as it actually supports them, helps them, touches them, and, you know, makes them feel like it's actually something personal and make them feel special. So, you know, the things that we are actually starting to see a great deal more is that it's that self-selection. So, you know, you have the choice to be able to choose the pillar that you want to align yourself to, or how you actually want to utilize that that benefit to suit your individual needs. So ultimately, when it comes back to it, is that you hear the employees, you actually hear what they want, what they need, and how it's actually going to help support them. So that's the key part. And the other one, you know, in terms of tying it all back, is that there are a number of different components of workplace culture. And whenever we talk about workplace culture, it seems like such a big sort of fluffy thing. But what we do with our Great Place to Work model is that we actually help you pinpoint it, make it more tangible and make it a little bit more hands-on. So we have a few different dimensions that we actually measure. And one of them is about management, so employees' interaction with management. Do the employees actually feel that management actually, treats them fairly? Do they actually care and support them well? Do they actually respect them? So those are the elements that actually come through. And that's part of that, do they actually behave according to the organization's values as well? So leadership behavior speaks a great deal in that particular sense. And so, coming to sort of wrap it up in that sense is that, we know this thing about what gets measured gets done, right? And so when you actually have a look at it from a employee engagement and perspective, in that if you're actually talking about, are you actually measuring how leaders behave? Are you actually measuring how employees feel that they're actually engaging, whether they're feeling valued, whether they're actually getting enough learning and development in their workplace? Do they actually have an opportunity to grow? So there are so many different aspects. And so with our survey, we actually go through some of those key elements and get feedback. So at the end of the day, you actually not only just get that certification, but you also get some baseline information as well, if you're doing it for the very first time, as to where your organization currently sits in terms of those workplace culture components. And then obviously, if you're actually looking to improve on that, and it actually just really highlights what your key strengths are and where your opportunity areas are. And then ultimately, if you do it year on year, then you start to see the shifts where things are actually moving in the right direction positively, or it might be through internal and external sources and forces that makes the organization shift and change a little bit, which is fine. That's how it's supposed to be. It's organic, it's made up of people. And so then you kind of realize that, okay, these are the levers that we need to pull in order for us to be able to balance all of those out. So it does give you some data around what needs to happen in terms of making sure that you're actually facilitating that great place to work and a strong culture in the workplace. So
I absolutely love that. Really, really love it. I was just, in what you said, I think a couple of things kind of jump out. I think we haven't spoken about this today. Usually this gets covered in a conversation, but, generationally, people are looking for different things in the workplace. And purpose and purpose-led organisations are becoming more and more important. People want to be working in workplaces that are changing the world, that are making a positive impact, that, they're not just coming and doing something, they're a part of something inspirational, something that's, really making a positive impact, and they're actively involved. It doesn't matter which part of the involvement they have, but, they're involved somewhere in the process. I don't think that purpose and values are a nice to have anymore. They were very much, kind of cool, and that's kind of it. But this is the way of the future, and really the way of the present. But it's something that's critical in organisations. So people working towards a common goal and a common purpose is just so, so important. Fiona, can I ask you to jump in? Can you just tell us a little bit about the process of actually becoming Great Place to Work certified? How onerous was it? What were the steps? Was it hard?
The hardest thing was just thinking about the right timing for us, because I think one of the most wonderful things about the Great Place to Work certification is that it comes from your team, right? So choosing the timing to best ensure high participation in the survey is what I think is most important in kind of kicking off that process. So we did do it after our engagement survey, but we did leave a bit of a gap there so that our team didn't have complete survey fatigue. In terms of the launch of the survey, that was very simple, with support of Great Place to Work, and then the turnaround of results really quick. And I I think anyone on this call would attest to the amount of detailed statistics that you get access to on the dashboard is just fantastic in terms of results. And it gave us a different cut through that we see from our engagement survey. There was definitely some likeness, so some themes that were clearly what we would expect out of our engagement survey, but it was a different cut of results, which we got value out of, and it gave us different talking points with the team. So I think getting the certification is a great thing, but I think you've also got at your fingertips and access to so much great data and insights that come out of that survey that you can then take and run with in terms of what you want to do with that as an organization. So to answer your question, Jenny, the process was simple, and in terms of how in depth you get with how you want to use that data post the survey, that's up to the organization.
Love it. So true. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to ask a question before we wrap up? Just use the raise hands emoji reaction button down the bottom. And you know, we can hand over to you. Now I know obviously, you know, some of you as organizations, you know, there are different size teams, head offices, franchisees, all sorts of you know, different structures within the organization. What can I ask everyone just to share kind of one last takeaway? What do you see as kind of the biggest game changer of going through the certification? Nina, I'll start with you.
Sorry, you just cut out there, Jenny. Can you just repeat
sorry. I was just saying, you know, could you just give us one kind of insight or biggest takeaway for you coming through the certification?
The biggest thing that we saw, we were actually quite surprised because we did go through a period of a lot of people leaving the workforce, and we were a little bit concerned about what could have happened in our culture, what was happening with our franchise partners in terms of why these people were leaving. And this was prior to our rewards and recognition and wellbeing programs that we implemented. And it was quite interesting to see that even though people were leaving, we still had over 85% of care team members happy and satisfied. And the fact that we are a purpose-driven business, as mentioned before, a lot of people that stayed were very, very connected. So then our focus was going, okay, that was a key take that we got from the data, but it's not matching what's happening on the road and on the front line. So that's when we started looking at retention strategies as well.
I love it. Love it. And that's, you know, where it's, you know, using the data and what's going on to really drive what's happening. Michelle, what about you? Key takeaway?
Yeah, I think for us, one of the things that was really insightful to us is that we've done engagement surveys of our franchisees before, so our agency owners, because obviously having satisfied franchisees is really critical to success. You know, they've got to be trusting, you know, our leadership. They've got to be making money. You know, we're all in it together in franchising, but we hadn't necessarily ever done sort of engagement of their teams as well as our franchisees. So to get that collective view of, you know, what the business valued and how engaged they were from a you know, an engagement point of view, being able to slice and dice that by owners, by state, whether they're an employee of one of our franchisees or whether they're a head office, was really insightful to us. So, you know, we've used those learnings to really, I guess, you know, make sure we have a lot of opportunities for people to feel connected to the bigger picture and to the company as a whole.
Yeah, love that.
And so that was really valuable to us, you know, at a franchise level, because you don't always get that visibility right down to every level of the business.
Yes. Belinda, what about you?
So ours, Jenny, was really around, you know, how people appreciate how they're treated day to day. So it was more around that, how we interact, the level of autonomy that people have, their decision-making process. So it was nice to get a few things confirmed that we thought were the case. But once you've actually got data, that's when you can make decisions. So having the data there and available, as we've just seen, Valentina's let us know it's available, from then on, basically. And you can go back to it to make sure that any initiatives that you are introducing are going to be what the team actually wants and will benefit from.
Yeah, love it. Valentina, one last statement from you. I just shared the link for people to be able to find out more.
Fantastic, thank you. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't need to speak so much because I think these stories have already said as much in terms of the value in getting yourselves certified. So there's so many different elements of it. But at the end of the day, aside from their outward, retention, talent attraction and retention and employee value proposition perspective, the key thing that we actually find is that it's actually really creates a strong pride in the organization from having that certification badge, simply because employees actually know that this is as a result of what they have said and how they've actually felt and so on. But more importantly is that, of course, workplace culture is co-created by everyone, right? So management can do so much, leadership can drive it so many different ways. But the fact that, you get your certification badge means that everyone in the organization has actually helped towards creating that great workplace. So it's something that people tend to be very, very proud of. And then we see that in some of our statements as well. There are a number of different statements that sort of help us measure pride in the organization. So they actually do feel, very proud of this particular certification. And also as a result that they actually, want to say great things about the organization to others and ultimately want to stay longer with the organization. So there's so many different benefits to it, both externally as well as internal. So I encourage you all to take a look into it.
Thanks for the amazing work that Great Place to Work does, because it really encourages and inspires organisations to be better and to really think and grow and create a thriving environment for their people. Thank you everyone for joining. I'd love you to leave a little word comment in the chat just of takeaways, what you thought, how you feel. We always love to get feedback from the sessions. Thank you to the panelists. Really appreciate you jumping on and sharing your stories, and look forward to hearing the next chapters in these amazing, thriving workplaces. So thank you all so much. This was recorded. You will be able to share the recording with others. So reach out if you do want that. And really looking forward to keeping in touch and speaking to you all soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Valentina. Thank you. Really,
see you guys soon.
Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Good. Thank you.